Good evening, friends. It is Theresa Reed, the Tarot Lady. I am doing this special presentation with Celeste Brooks, Astrology by Celeste. We're going to be talking about Saturn in Pisces. Oh my God, I just saw I Love Love get here. I'm going to go ahead and put the title on real quick. I was like getting that set up, so let's make sure that's, there we go. Hey, I Love Love, Aspen Lady, Hannah the Mala, hello, good evening, good evening. I hope you are having a magical evening. I've had a very productive day, so that always makes me happy. Hey, Gina, Jean, good to see you, sweet lady Tarot. Left Coast Picker, how are things on the left coast? I hope they're fabulous. And Bo Joffrey and Tarot, we also love seeing you show up around here. So good evening, Tarot by Jenny. Okay, Celeste is here. To become the Glam Witch. Okay, did I get her on here?
We did. Hi,
We
Theresa.
did
It's
it.
so good to
Hi.
see you.
Oh my God, it's been a minute since we have been hanging out and talking about astrology and tossing cards. So good to see you here, Celeste. And for folks who are just tuning in, I just saw Jelly Bowbelly get here. Let me give a proper introduction. Celeste Brooks is an amazing astrologer, super cool, super fun, knows tarot like the back of her hands. One of my favorite people also to talk about this stuff with, because not only does Celeste know stuff, but she always has a way of delivering it so
Aw.
folks get it. And I really, really appreciate about you, Celeste. So Celeste,
Thank
welcome. Thank you
you
so
for
much for being
having
here
me,
tonight.
Theresa. Your words mean so much to me, as you are such an amazing astrologer and tarot reader yourself. I said yesterday when I was telling people about me being on here, you are all that and a bag of chips.
Well, I had some amazing potato chips last week, and I'm still thinking about those
Me
chips. So I got to
too,
stay away
especially
from
in
those. So
Pisces season.
thank you very much. Oh my God. And that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. So for folks who are tuning in, we are going to be talking about this Saturn in Pisces transit that's coming up. I've got some questions, and I also have a tarot deck. So I'm going to toss a couple of cards for every sign. So every sign's going to get a little additional guidance so we can move through this transit wisely. Wisely. That's always what I think. You and I share a similar philosophy about astrology and tarot. We don't look at it like, oh my God. We look at it like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
let's figure this out.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
I love that
yeah.
about
We
you.
work. I love how you say, let's be prepared, not scared. Yeah.
Exactly. So let's start off by just talking about what Saturn's all about. In a nutshell, what do people
Yeah,
need
so
to know about
Saturn is the
Saturn?
planet of responsibility and maturity. It consolidates things. My favorite thing about Saturn, it's about like you put in the effort and the hard work and you can really achieve things. So people get scared when they see Saturn, but it checks in with us every 7 years. So you cannot outrun Saturn. It is, for your highest good to learn your lessons in life and yeah, learn from those lessons, gain maturity, and be more successful going forward. But there are boundaries and limitations that can be very frustrating when you come up against Saturn. Us as a collective have been dealing with Saturn in the sign of the collective Aquarius. It was literally lockdown where we all had to go home. So yeah, Saturn can feel like a lead blanket sometimes, but it can also, it's that achievement after you put in the hard work as well.
Why do you think so many people, I mean, I know there's hard work and there's maturity and all that comes with Saturn, but why do you think so many people, and I've seen astrologers do this too, they'll talk about it like, oh my God, like they
Uh-huh.
talk about the same way they talk about Mercury retrograde. Like it is the bad boy of the planet. So what do you think about
Yeah,
that when
I
people
think
frame it
because
like
people
that?
think about, there are difficult things that can come when you have a Saturn transit. I mean, it does have its joy in the 12th house that can be like, in some ways, you can feel imprisoned in a circumstance. So I think that's why people like focus on the negative things about Saturn. And it is a boundary. So sometimes when you're trying to, you know, press the gas with Mars and you come up against Saturn, like the brick wall or a break, it can be uncomfortable. So I think that's why, and everyone knows the Saturn return. You know, when you're 29, you have these experiences, which a lot of people, they're like, they get married or they have their first child or buy their first house, where they take on additional responsibilities that bring more meaning to their life. But also some other people have hard things, like they lose a job or lose someone they love or have a divorce or things like that. So I think focusing on like the way things get, the worst possibilities, is why people like freak out when they they see Saturn coming. Yeah, I have it on my son, so I had to get get right with Saturn. It was, you know, there was no other choice for me. So I like the discipline it gives me. I like exercising my Saturn.
Hmm. I think that Saturn can bring tremendous gifts. Oftentimes we look at Jupiter, like Jupiter is like, oh my God, the great big, fun planet. But, Saturn does so much for you if you learn to work with it. So I see Saturn as like, it's kind of like it gives you a bit of a
Mhm.
reset, an
Yeah.
opportunity to build new structures. Now, Saturn very happy in Capricorn and Aquarius because, and by the way, for folks, Saturn's getting out of Aquarius, but the last 7 years it's been first in Capricorn and then in Aquarius. And Saturn is the traditional ruler of Capricorn and Aquarius, or yeah, the traditional. I mean, Aquarius also gets the
Hmm.
modern rulership of Uranus. So, been happy, and now it's going into Pisces. So let's talk about that. What does Saturn think about
Saturn's
Pisces?
probably more scared of Pisces than we're scared of Saturn, because it's like this. Saturn likes the material, and in water, it's like it dissolves crystalline structures like Saturn. So it's like it's very uncomfortable place for Saturn to be. And yeah, it's going to be a really interesting transit, but like bringing the dream state or the imagination and illusion meeting reality, it's going to be really interesting. Uh, what comes of this transit. I'm really curious about how it's going to play out for us. Yeah, we're already seeing some things coming to light. So, yeah, some good things.
Definitely.
Well, it's
Oh, go
like
ahead.
really
Go
interesting
ahead.
that like Saturn in Aquarius is making its last stand. I think it's interesting at the new moon that we just had on Sunday. The new moon was at 1 Pisces and Saturn at 28 Aquarius. So the new moon was conjunct Saturn. And we saw in the collective President Biden going over to Ukraine to talk about how we stand against, Russia trying to do what it's doing as the world against this authoritarian oppression. And here on Instagram, so Meta saying that we're going to have to pay for it, but they're finally going to do something about all of these fake accounts, Pisces, deceptive people pretending to be astrologers and tarot readers, and that Saturn, you are going to like get a verification so that people know you're real rather than fake. So yeah, I see that as kind of like a last stand of the authoritarian, like not authoritarian, but the above the authority before Saturn dissolves into
Hmm.
Pisces world, where what's real, what's not real.
Yeah, and oh, sorry, totally. But the other thing, I love that you mentioned the dreams part. I really love that you said that. I think for people who are creative and mystics, and by the way, I think I'm going to sneeze any second, of course. But I think for people who are creatives or mystics, artists and musicians,
Bless you.
oh, excuse me, artists and musicians, I think that Saturn might help them, or writers. I think it might be really, really helpful
Hmm.
for creatives and mystics.
Yes, because
About that.
Saturn,
You
I
like,
mean, the best possible thing for Saturn and Pisces is manifesting Saturn your dreams. So you've got this vision of what you want to do as an artist. And with Saturn, you can crystallize it, or a mystic, or like, yeah, I can see someone who's been planning for years, like doing their first like deck, oracle or tarot deck with Saturn and Pisces, like having a physical manifestation of it, or starting their first like seminars or launching their school or something like that. So yeah, I think it can be really a bountiful time for really creative and mystical people. Yeah.
Well, I hope you're going to be writing an astrology
That's
book.
one of
Now,
my,
that's one of
it's
my
on my
things.
list,
You're into
Theresa.
Saturn.
And I think I'll probably, because this Saturn in Pisces is my ninth house. So I think I'm going to be doing
Ooh.
a lot of things that are crystallizing my work, like with writing a book. I'm going to start teaching. I have my moon mastery, but I'm going to start teaching like more introductory and other types of classes for astrology, yeah, outside of that. So yeah, and starting to write my book. I was just thinking about it this morning. Today is Mercury square Uranus, and I got this
time.
great idea, and I wrote it down about something I want to write about.
Well, I know that you're going to be able to produce something really amazing, and people want to learn from you. So this is really, I think, for folks who are listening, you heard it here. So remember, Saturn's about discipline. So we're all going to be like on Celeste to make sure she gets that book done because we want information. Yeah, Willow Spoon Creative says woohoo. So and I says yeah. So people want that information, and you're going to be able to put out
Yeah,
really amazing.
it's
I know
on
it.
the list. It's on the list. Getting ready to put my head down to do it.
So what are some of the things that people need to be careful about with Saturn and Pisces? What are some of the things we really want to be mindful of,
Yes.
in your
So
opinion?
maybe like I think people can get caught up with one of the things that I'm a little concerned about is like cults or things like that, like some kind of person who seems like they know what they're talking about or an authority, but they're using it for deceptive practices or to hold sway over a group of people. Like I feel like messianic, like leaders claiming to be,
Mhm.
I don't know if you saw the, I don't know if I should bring this up, but Ron DeSantos had this ad that was like, and God on the eighth day made Ron DeSantos, and, da, 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 and it was like he was a god in some sense. And I think we're going to
Mhm.
be seeing more, some of that kind of stuff. That's something to be aware of. I think it's a great time for people to, if you have like some really bad habits or like addictions to substances or spending or shopping or whatever, video games, it's a good time to get some control over that before you have consequences, Saturn, from it, from the escapist tendencies. I think those are some things for us to be thinking about. I'm kind of concerned about water. There's going to be restrictions. Saturn restricts things, restrictions of water or poison water or dirty water, like that, water fights with the Colorado River we have here in the United States, that's going to be an issue that comes to a head, where there's going to have to be some rulings about how we share water. These are some of the things that have been
Mhm.
coming up to me. Yeah, like having to do something about homelessness and drug addiction, that sort of thing, because it's we're going to need some structures to help people who are dealing with these sorts of horrible issues. So I think that's something that's going to come to a head. And like when you have a lack of authority, there can be you can get carried away with your fears, because like as crime has been on the rise a bit with after the pandemic, that can be something that comes to a head. So we
Mhm.
have to work on not letting ourselves get too carried away with our fears or paranoia and that sort of thing, because Saturn does rule fear. And in Pisces, your fears can just like really get out of control.
Mhm. Right on. I thought it's interesting that you brought up about cults too. I just watched this documentary. I don't know if anyone else watched it about the
Oh,
Sarah Lawrence cult thing. I mean, that's
not yet.
did you
It's on
watch
my
that?
list.
Oh my. Okay, put that on your list. That's your Saturn. For everybody, that's your Saturn and Pisces. That's your assignment. Watch that. Oh my God. We were like watching it. Our jaws were in our lap. And, Saturn has a lot to do with delusion. And people can really be prey or gullible for, delusional thinking or delusional leaders. So I love that you brought that up. Super fascinating. One thing I think people are really going to have to work on too are their boundaries,
Mhm.
because Pisces blurs the boundaries. And so that for us on a personal level could really find that we need to enforce,
Yes,
enforce,
and psychic
enforce.
boundaries too, like not letting other people
Yes.
overwhelm us with their issues and having to, like, yeah, having to do some protection of ourselves, I think is a big thing. Yeah, and I think we're going to see like it coming to a head. People have been under so much
Mm-hmm.
pressure these last couple of years. We're going to see people in some ways like falling apart psychologically, with Saturn going to Pisces, and like how do you help this person but not let them totally overwhelm you and your state of well-being is something that's going to come up. Yeah.
Rebecca Barton Stewart said the Pisces psychic who scammed me sure blurred some boundaries. Ooh, well, that's what we're talking about. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And there's some of those out there that, we got a lot of scammers on Instagram. I don't know if I'm going to be able to fix it or not. I'm a
I
little
hope
skeptical
so.
about that. But so what, well, I do too, because it's been really a problem here. So what are some of the things you can do to really prepare for Saturn and Pisces? Because Saturn's going into Pisces
It's
March
coming
7th. So it's coming
fast.
up pretty
And I
quickly.
think that having grounded spiritual practices, I think, is one of a great way to help yourself with this transit, getting enough rest. Now that we're in Pisces season, I think everybody's energy kind of gets a little bit lower. And yeah, what are you doing to make sure you get enough sleep and enough? Because we're at our best when we have more
Mhm.
rest. And like, it's a great time to maybe get a new deck, a new tarot deck or oracle deck. It's something to like work with through this transit that speaks to you about Saturn and Pisces. What else did I write down? I had a bunch of things that I was recommending. Resist urges to isolate, because this can be something like, and we want to have healthy boundaries, but not protect ourselves so much that we keep ourselves away from everyone else. So yeah, still having some connection with other people, because Pisces wants to connect and Saturn separates. So there needs to be like a balance of those two. Yes, and seeking out social activities or people who have the like-minded spiritual practices as you, I think is a nice thing that can really help throughout this transit. Yeah, reducing escapism. I did dry January, and I did, there's this thing called the alcohol experiment with this woman, Annie Grace, where you do 30 days alcohol free,
Yeah.
and there's like a video every day. It's free. So I recommend that for people. I decided I'm not going back to regular drinking. I mean, I may drink here or there, but it used to be more a part of my life. And this awakened me to how I can reduce that. Yeah. And volunteering, like donating your time to help organizations that are meaningful to you, about people who are in Piscean circumstances, whether they're homeless or having issues with drug addiction or a mental illness, things like that. Yeah, I think that can be helpful. And making your dreams a reality, going for that big dream. Like Pisces ruled by Neptune is the dream, and it's the ultimate manifester. You've got to imagine it to be ordered to do it. So I think those are some things I'm thinking with this transit.
I love that you brought up also about dry January and about really getting away from substances. I like to drink too. I love wine, but wine has failed me. And so, and here's how it's failed me. I mean, I always like to say I could drink a man under the table twice my size. I never get hangovers. But what started happening for me is it
Mm-hmm.
impacted my sleep. And you mentioned sleep. And I found, I'm like, I cannot have a glass of wine at night because I have a choice between sleep or wine. Like, I'm going to choose sleep every time because I don't function if I don't sleep. So that habit came like boom, by my side, just because my body was telling me, hey, listen, you've got Saturn and Pisces in your chart. It's coming. Let's get rid of it. So kind of like wine put itself the door on my life. And you know what? I'm not missing it that much. Oh my
Yeah.
God, the Crooks Nook is
Yeah, and
here.
I found I was
So
in such
let's
a
talk
better mood
about,
after I stopped my nightly wine. It is a depressant. Yeah.
you just feel better in the morning. Yep, totally. So let's talk about people. You mentioned the Saturn return. Now, I know Grace is here, and Grace and I both, behind the scenes, have mentioned a few times, we're both about to go through our Saturn return. I've got Saturn in Pisces. It's in the 5th house. It's tied up in a gnarly T-square, because I'm
Yeah.
almost all mutable signs, by the way. And I know Grace has hers coming up in the 11th house. So without talking about the
Grace
houses, we'll
says
talk about
boo
that in a second. Now,
hiss.
Grace is always in boo hit. But what can you tell us about the first Saturn return, Saturn in Pisces, versus the second Saturn return, Saturn in Pisces? Hey, Cindy,
Well, the
see,
first
I can see
Saturn
you.
return, you know, you're so much younger. You don't have a lot of experience, and it's this like tremendous. It happens in pieces for a lot of people. Some people, it's a big event, but you take on all this additional responsibility, and yeah, it can feel like, depending on your chart, it can feel like some hardship. But when you get on the other side, you look back and it's like how you hopefully can see, wow, and be impressed with yourself, how far you've grown. And now when you have your second Saturn return, like you're really looking back, it's around age 58 or so, 56, 58. And you're looking back on your whole life and seeing, you know, what you've done with the last 28, 29 years. And it's a time to feel like a great sense of accomplishment. Or sometimes people can feel in Saturn and Pisces, like, hopefully you don't spend too much time feeling like, I wish I had done this, that, and that, or feeling too much sense of failure. Hopefully you're feeling a sense of accomplishment. Your kids are grown. You can like do things for your own self-actualization rather than worrying about everyone else at some point at this time. Yeah, it can be a big achievement, or it can feel like you're running out of time and, oh my God, what have I done? Time have I wasted? But I mean, I hope you're feeling very accomplished with all you've done with this second Saturn return. Like, wow, and now you have a new grandbaby and you get to just do the fun part of parenting. And that's
Right. Well, I get a babysitter, terrified. I'm like, this kid better not be cranky when I'm babysitting, and I better not have to change a diaper. My daughter's like, what the hell's wrong with you? I'm like, I'm trying to grandma. We're only supposed to be doing the fun stuff. So this kid better not be cranky. I was giving her a hard time. Yeah.
And now you're ready for the reward.
The fun stuff. And that grandbaby is so cute. Oh my God, Celeste,
Yeah.
I'll just show you a picture when we're done with this. So cute. So I am absolutely enjoying watching her thrive as a mother. So the other thing I would want to say too, for certain people that are listening and getting real scared about those Saturn returns, please don't look at it like, oh my God, it's hardship. And I see you're nodding your head. Please look at it a time to build. That's one thing I really want you to think about. I mean, my first Saturn return was hard. There were a lot of challenges then, but I built my business. And now with my second Saturn return, you know, I've got a couple more books coming out this year and more that I want to write. So now I've built the legacy is how I'm thinking of it. And that's what I want folks to think about. The first Saturn return, you build your life. Second Saturn return, think of your legacy, your experience. You have so much more to share with the world now. So y'all,
I love that.
way.
Yeah, legacy is
One
such
thing
a
I wanted
great
to
word for Saturn. Yes, definitely. Legacy, accomplishments,
second
mastery.
What is your yes? Oh my God, yes, mastery. I love that. So let's talk about each sign and what they can expect. So we'll start with Aries. So for Aries, now we're doing Aries or Aries rising, folks. So you gotta pay attention here. Aries or Aries rising, that would put Saturn and Pisces in the 12th house.
So the 12th house is the house of endings. It's the house of of isolation. It can also be around self-undoing. So like at this point, there's probably things you're ready to let go of. And I think it's really important to let go of what needs to let go of, let go what must die, like the death card in the tarot deck, I think is something to be thinking about for that. Yeah, it's a great time to face your fears, Saturn going through your 12th house. And yeah, there can be consequences for self-undoing. So it's a time to make sure you're acting with integrity, and maybe even go on a little pilgrimage by yourself. I think would be a great thing to do, where you went to like maybe a yoga retreat or something spiritual would be a wonderful thing for some Aries to do, even just for a weekend or something for this transit. Yes, I think.
I also think it's
Therapy,
good for
yes.
therapy. It's a great transit. If you've got Saturn sitting in your 12th house, there's no better time to get down with your therapy. So I'm a huge believer in it. Now, y'all, I got my tarot cards that I'm shuffling here. So I'm going to pull a card. So Aries, by the way, the deck I'm using, because I'm honoring Black History Month, the Bazama African Tarot, which is probably the most gorgeous tarot deck I own. I always say it's medium quality. Nobody gets to touch it except me. So if anybody comes near it, Mr. Tarot Lady's hand is going to get slapped. Well, Jelly Bobo says, does Saturn in the 12th benefit Aries rising? Saturn and its joy in the 12th? That's a great question. What do you think about that
Yeah,
question?
Saturn has its joy in the 12th because it can really do its Saturn thing. Benefit Aries rising, I don't know if I would say necessarily benefits, but it is going to be a time of learning and of your ability to like you said, if you go to therapy, it could be very successful, I think, with Saturn in the 12th, to face reality of things that are hard to explain, kind of thing.
And also as an opportunity to let go of those old
Yes.
stories and begin writing new ones. So here for Aries and Aries rising, we've got the King of Swords, and Celeste mentioned about cutting things and letting go. I think for Aries and Aries rising, you are going to be letting go of so many unnecessary things. It's like you're becoming a leaner, meaner version of you. So there's a big time clearing, but also mental clarity coming. So if there's a part of your life or a part of yourself that you are feeling kind of lost about, even though it's in Pisces, you are going to get so much clarity. So Aries, this is an Aries rising. It is going to be an opportunity to become the boss of your thinking and to release, to let go, and to make your life as clean and clear as possible. This is going to be a good year for you, a good or not year, it's a 3-year, but really
Yes,
good for Aries
I
folks.
love that. And I love maybe for Aries, like a new spiritual practice like yoga nidra or something like that, that can help you, like if you have problems with racing thoughts or like tame your mind. I am using the Wandering Soul Oracle, and this is a beautiful deck, and it's a oracle deck, and I pulled Burn and the Candle, and the Flame, and yeah, this is illuminating those shadow worlds for you, that things may become clear. Yeah, exactly what we're talking about. This is Saturn's going to help you, like help shine a light on some of self-undoing, or things that need to be, some secrets may come out and things need to be dealt with, is what I'm seeing.
It's like burning and purging
I love
for
that.
Aries or Aries rising. I love her. I need that deck. Oh my God. Don't make me get of course, Celeste said maybe get another deck with Saturn and Pisces. Oh my God. All right, so Taurus or Taurus rising, this would put Saturn and Pisces in your 11th house. The 11th house is friends, groups, goals, objectives. So let's see what you have to say about that, Celeste. What do Taurus and Taurus rising need to know about Saturn?
Yeah, you may have some consolidation of your friendship groups, where you may start letting go of some people maybe that are no longer in alignment with your values. I think could be something that comes up. you could also take on some more responsibility, like in a group, like maybe if you're involved in some organizations where you step up into somewhat of a leadership role or take on more duties in a group setting. Yeah, that can be something that happens with this transit.
And I also want to say, as Saturn likes being in the 11th house, y'all. So, Grace, I don't want to hear any more about you being afraid of your Saturn return. It actually enjoys being in that house because now you've got the muscle to make your goals happen. Now, what's interesting, the card I got for Taurus is the Four of Cups reversed. And that means this is going to be a time where you are able to say no. You're going to be able to say no to the things that don't light you up, the goals that don't inspire you, the people that you don't want in your sphere any longer. Taurus, it's all about no, 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 and saying yes, yes, yes to the people, the groups, the activities, and the goals that really inspire you. So I think it's going to be a great time for you to know what you want and what you don't want. You're going to get total clarity, but you're also getting the agency to say
Love
yes or
that.
no.
And I pulled the luck card. The 11th house is a house of good fortune. And so Saturn coming here could bring you like some achievement in some area around maybe manifesting your dreams, manifesting your hopes and dreams with this transit. Having that, yeah, I like that. Yeah. Like you said, it's a good place.
And I love, yes, and I love love as a Taurus rising. So I know you're liking that. And Bo is a Taurus. I think Bo's a Taurus. And Bo says, "Oh, thank God, saying no and setting boundaries is the best." Yes. All right, Gemini. It's going to be in the 10th house for Gemini, and Saturn actually likes being in the 10th house. So Gemini's, I don't want to hear any bitching. Okay, even though it's in Pisces, it's going to be squaring off. But if you're a Gemini or Gemini rising, what do we
Yeah,
have to say about that,
that could
Celeste?
be
What do
one
we
of
need
the
to know?
best
What do I need?
transits of your life when Saturn reaches the top of your chart, reaches your midheaven. So this can be a time of career achievement where all the hard work you put into, you harvest the benefits of that. Now, on the reverse side, there can be consequences, but for a lot of people, this is a great time when Saturn's in your 10th house. Yeah, it can be tiring. Yes, you're working hard, but you're manifesting.
Mm-hmm. I like it. Now look at the
Uh-huh.
card I got, the Nine of Swords reverse. So for Gemini, remember, 10th house also has a lot to say about like reputation. During this transit, you're going to have an opportunity to stop worrying about what other people think. This is going to be a time you're able to let it go and just be authentically you. If you are worried also about putting yourself out there and being visible and dealing with haters, let it go, let it go, let it go. However, if you are doing things like Celeste already said about, but we've got to be mindful of that. If you're doing things that are harmful, you might also receive a bit of a pushback. So let's remember to be mindful and with your words, something you've been learning during this Mars and Gemini phase. And don't worry so much about what others think, Gemini. It's time to let that crap
Yeah.
go.
I pulled the messenger, which is so interesting for a Gemini because Gemini is the messenger. So this can be a great time to crystallize your message as part of your legacy, which you're doing as a Gemini with writing additional books and that sort of thing. Yes, I love it.
I love that you pulled that card. That kind of blew me away a little bit. Whoa. Hard to find, folks. And great tarot minds are all alike. All right, so Cancer, if you're a Cancer rising, it's going to be in the 9th house. So 9th house is travel, it's higher mind, it's our spirituality. What do Cancers and Cancer rising need to know with Saturn
Yeah,
going into
some
that
people
9th
will be
house?
going back to school or maybe getting another certificate or something like that for your, could be something for your career or mastering a subject. This can be a very positive transit where, yeah, now you can have some difficulties with legal things. So hopefully you can mediate out any kind of legal conflicts so that you don't have to go to court, because it will be burdensome for you whether you win or lose. So I like the idea of using this for, yeah, mastering some kind of, or adding additional things to your resume. Yeah, certificates.
Love that. And we got another reversal. So I got the devil reversed. And so for you, the chains are off. You have an opportunity to expand your horizons with Saturn in Pisces. So what you want to think about is, okay, if there's no limits, how am I going to expand myself? Should I go back to school? Should I take that class? Should I buy Celeste's book, which is going to be awesome? And Celeste is, of course, finish that book during this 9th house thing, because there's no excuses. Or maybe things are freeing up and I can travel more. So Cancer rising, you're free. You're free to get bigger, and we get bigger by, again, expanding our world. So look for ways to expand your world. Now's the time. Now's the time for growth. Nothing's holding you back, Cancer, except yourself.
The world in tarot is the Saturn card. Yeah. I pulled Genesis. So this is also a time about, you know, your philosophy. 11th house is, the 9th house is about philosophy and belief systems. And you may be doing some reflection on the origins of your belief systems and figuring out, you know, what is something you were taught from your family or early childhood, and maybe getting some crystallizing on, now that you've had all this maturity in your life, what are your core philosophies that are from you and your experiences rather than what you were taught, and having some new ideas around that is what I'm seeing with this card.
I love that when you combine that also with the devil reversed. If there are old spiritual beliefs that have really been repressive or obstructing or binding, let that go. Let that go. And please don't join a cult.
No, don't join a cult. Yeah, we don't want to do that. Yeah, this is someone said they love the deck. It's the soul, the Wandering Soul Oracle.
Yeah. You know I'm going to be looking that up and buying that, because you know it just enabled me. All right, so Leo, the Saturn's going to end up in your 8th house, and the 8th house is about joint resources, taxes, intimacy, the things we share with others, and it's also very, very psychic. So what do Leo or Leo risings need to know?
This is a time, it's shared assets, where that you can have some restriction around, like, it's a good time to get your taxes done early. Don't, you know, that there could be problems if you don't follow the rules around things. It's not the best time to take a loan out if you don't have to. Or you could have, maybe because of your partner, because it's your partner, your life partner's 2nd house. So their finances in some way may be restrictive or something like that. Also a great time for therapy, I think, because it's the deep psychological processes where you can come face to face with your shadow self, and heal through working with it, I think, is for Leos. Yeah, in that 8th house.
And I pulled the 9 of Wands. So this is, you know, we all say prepared, not scared. And because the 8th house has a lot to do with our finances, this would be a wonderful time for Leos to start thinking about the long term. So for example, maybe if you have a lot of debt, you want to put together a debt repayment plan. Or if you haven't begun putting money away for retirement, it's time to think about that. Or if you're thinking, gee, I want to start a business, maybe look for ways to get legit. So the more you work on fiscal responsibility, the more likely you are setting yourself up for a secure future. You've got 3 good years to get your finances in order. Leo and Leo rising, I'm looking at you. Get that money in order. And if there is some sort of a situation, let's say you're dealing with like a divorce settlement, this is a number 9. You're going to be able to get that crap settled
and move on with your life. Now, I pulled Pandora's box, and the 8th house is Pandora's box. It's where all those deep psychological processes, the shadows of things we'd rather disown about ourselves. Like with Saturn there's Pandora's box is going to kind of be opened a little bit. And I think that's I just, as a Cancer rising, I'm finishing up an 8th house transit, and it was a lot, but a lot of healing went on over the last couple of years about stuff I had not wanted to face, and facing it was really helpful. Yeah.
Well, you mentioned the shadow side, and
yes.
that is total 8th house stuff. So next are Virgo. So for Virgos, you're going to have Saturn or Virgo rising in the 7th house, which is about our relationships, our partnerships, legal affairs, things of that nature. So what do folks need to know about, if you're a Virgo rising?
Yeah, so there may be some tests in your relationships. It's a great time to realize why you committed to the person. If you're single, you may meet someone that you get very serious about. And like something that could happen is your partner like gets a promotion, and that means you have more responsibilities in the relationship for some reason, or around the house or whatnot. So for some reason, there are more tests or maturity or challenges coming up with your one-on-one relationships, I think is what you'll be seeing. But it can be very rewarding.
And also, you get rid of those relationships that are no longer, like, if you've outgrown it, it's time to go. Now, look at what I got. I got the 10 of Cups. So for Virgo rising, this transit is going to allow you to surround yourself with your right relationships, your healthy relationships. So you have an opportunity to create the community or family or chosen family or relationship that are going to be for your highest good. And if it's not good, you're going to be able to spot it. So for a lot of you Virgo and Virgo rising, I mean, this really does feel like you end up with the family you really, truly want. So I love this card. I love it for Virgo and Virgo rising. Some of you Virgos too may be getting engaged, married, buying a house, having a family. There could be a lot of serious partnership agreements you do that really expand your family life
and
too.
I pulled Locked Away. So I think this is about, the rib cage protects our heart. It's a boundary. So this is something about, having healthy boundaries in relationships. And if you're involved with someone where you can't be safe with them, or they're not helping, you're not safe to expose your true self or your true heart, then maybe there's some separation needed. Yeah, for that. Now, I'm not telling anybody to leave your marriage or anything. I'm talking about if you're like dating someone is not right for you. That's something to think about. Yeah, and it's
right.
Yeah, it can also be like best friends and other one-on-one relationships. Someone said they're in a lawsuit because their husband had a brain injury. Is something that's going on and coming up for them. I thought that was very Saturn in the 7th.
Totally. It may be a time to resolve that. So Libra or Libra rising. So it's going to end up in the 6th house, which is work. It's our daily routines. It's health. It's the small animals. What do we need to know if you're a Libra or Libra rising?
Saturn through the 6th house is a time where everyday life can get serious. And so it's really important to have routines and rituals that support you throughout this transit. Take care of your health. This can be a time when like some health stuff shows up. So if anything shows up, go straight to the doctor. Is something that Libras and Libra rising should be doing. But be prepared for hard work in daily life is just something that's very common for Saturn going through the 6th.
And I would also say too, that because Saturn loves structures, have a plan, have a routine, update those routines if it's not working for you. Go to bed at a good hour. Find routines that are going to really support your health, your mental health, your physical health, your emotional and spiritual health. find those practices and routines because you're going to find they benefit you. Now, the card I pulled is the Knight of Swords. And you know, knights are action oriented. The Knight of Swords is not afraid to go into situations where there's conflict because they're all about fixing things. So when it comes to your work, Libra or Libra rising, this could be a time where maybe you are taking some chances, you're getting in there, you're clearing the air, you're speaking truth, you're becoming more of a leader in your industry or in your work environment. Truth is your weapon. And also when it comes to your health and well-being, this is a card that says when you take action, you're going to find you are able to get your health back on track. It's all about taking right action,
I love
leading with your
that.
truth.
And Libras are great mediators and diplomats that can, through their efforts, can help elevate things. And I pulled symmetry. What a perfect card for Libra. And this is a call to get back in balance. If you've been out of balance, Libra is the scales. So does your work-life balance have enough symmetry is something for you to be thinking about. Yeah. Are you doing too much people pleasing and not taking care of yourself? Yeah, something to think about if you're a Libra.
Libras,
Yeah.
gotta watch out for that. Next up, Scorpios. And y'all know I'm a fan of Scorpios. So we're going to be talking about Scorpio or Scorpio rising. And so this would put Saturn in Pisces in the 5th house. The 5th house is romance, it's children, it's leisure, it's play. It's one of the fame houses too. So what do you have to say about Saturn in the 5th house for Scorpio
I
rising?
think this can
What do they need
like
to know?
if you have a creative project, this is a time you can materialize it as reality by doing the hard work. You could make your work of art with this transit. Through dating, you could find someone serious with just more responsibility around children. Somebody may have just had their first child, or the child's going off to college, so that puts a little pressure on you. Or their child separating from you because they're going off. That can, you know, Saturn can be about separation. So yeah. Oh, MB Wolf is about to give birth. Yeah, so you're going to have all this responsibility with being a parent. Yeah.
Well, congratulations to MB Wolf. That's amazing. And look what I got for Scorpio and Scorpio rising, the Ace of Swords. This is going to be all new beginnings. All new beginnings. It is opportunity, ideas, new beginnings, fresh starts, new love, new family, new things to do that keep your mind occupied. If you are a writer and you're a Scorpio, this could be a really big time for you. So Scorpios who are artists, musicians, creatives, writers, wow, this could be the big idea. This could be a really good time for Scorpios. And it just feels so new, so fresh. New love, new things, new ideas. Scorpio, come on now. This is looking good. And you know Saturn's in a water sign, so it's making great aspects to you. Scorpios and
Scorpios
rising.
need that. Yes. I pulled, after what we've been going through with Saturn this year in the South Node, I pulled Seeking. And this feels like a mystical map of creativity. This, like, you know, what do you call this? Almost like a labyrinth where, yeah, I kind of like to finding, and it's going to be a little bit of work, but you can really make creative things a reality with this transit. Yeah, that's what I'm feeling for that.
I love that. Yeah, I love that maze image too. It really does feel like some kind of little garden going through it and really maybe figuring yourself out.
Figuring out what really lights you up, what brings you joy. The 5th house is the house of joy. And yeah, committing. Saturn's about committing to like having some joy in your life that is structured. Yeah.
And you deserve it, Scorpio and Scorpio
Yes.
rising. You deserve that joy. So Sagittarius. So for Sagittarius, Saturn in Pisces is going to be in the 4th house. The 4th house is home, your domestic scene, your family. What does Sagittarius need to know about
So more
Saturn and
more
Pisces in the fourth
responsibilities at
house.
home. So it could be like you buy your first house, and so that brings more responsibility, or you move, just separating from your house, or there's more to do at home, maybe with your parents, taking on some responsibilities around parents. Some people are going to be dealing with, are their parents needing more help or things like that. Yeah, that could be something that comes up, or your spouse, it gets promoted, so you're doing more at home. Things like that could be coming up, or you move in with someone for the first time. You get married and move in together, and like you got to learn how to to get along in a single environment. Yeah.
Right on. And I'm just, Saturn's just leaving my fourth house. We did
Mm.
a bunch of renovations on our house.
Okay.
So that's one of the ways that manifested for us here. That. Now look at what I've got for you, Sagittarius. I got the Magician. So this Saturn in the fourth house is about manifesting your ideal home and family. You have the ability to build it, to make it. So whether, again, like Celeste says, you're buying a home, moving in together, maybe renovating like I've done, you have the creative urge or the creative ability to see what you want and to make it happen. It's going to be a very magical time for you, Sagittarius. It could be also a really awesome time with your family. Like maybe this is a time where you're able to overcome some of those old family dynamics or old family stories and build new, healthier ones. Such a good
Yeah.
time for
And
Sag.
I pulled liberation. Look at that key. This is a key to a house. So somebody's maybe
Yeah,
selling their house and liberating themselves, or buying something new, or finding the key to like some ancestral old patterns. Like I feel like this could be like releasing yourself from some family patterns, finding the key for that. Psychology also falls in the fourth house. Yeah, I think this can be really great for some Sagittarius, and it goes nicely with the
they're
Magician.
going to break the damn wheel. Yeah, it really does go nice with the Magician. I mean, this is so, so good. And it's really funny. I just remember I got a Sagittarius friend who's about to buy a house. So actually, this makes a lot of
Mm-hmm.
sense, Celeste. I love it. All right, my Capricorn friends. So Saturn and Pisces is going to be, if you're a Capricorn or Capricorn rising, it's the third house. This is your mind. This is short trips, siblings, your neighborhood, early education. And I will say when Saturn went through my third house, I was writing a lot of books. So what do we need to know about Saturn in the third house for Capricorn or
Yeah,
Capricorn
so this
ascendant?
can be a time where you have some more responsibilities around your local environment, like your neighborhood, or you feel like there's a lot. I think it could be pretty busy where you're like got a lot of routines and errands, or like just daily life seems very busy, or you take a new job and there's a commute. That could be something that comes up with this. It's important to not let your mind be in a prison, because sometimes people can experience some depression when Saturn's in their third house, or get weighed down by their thinking. So it's a good time to make sure you have outlets to like move your chi, so that you're not too stuck in your head and things like that. I think it's something to think about.
Such good advice. And I got the Eight of Wands, progress. So this could be a time. First of all, third house does have something to say about travel. So some of you Capricorns could be hitting the road a little bit more, taking some quick trips, maybe trips for business, for school, trips that are going to be in some way about bettering yourself, educating yourself. But also there's progress. There's progress on your stinking thinking. You're able to bust free from any thinking that's been harmful. So that is going to be something that you may see happening. And also, if you have been holed up due to COVID, like most of us, you might be getting out of the house more and getting in your community,
And
just
look,
like
I pulled
Celeste said.
unblock. Could these two go together better? Unblock, yeah, limiting thinking.
I thought, wow,
I love that.
I love that. Capricorn,
No.
ain't nothing holding you back. Nothing, nothing. Benny is here somewhere. You hear that, Benny? Okay, we're almost down to the bottom. Aquarius, now Saturn's going to be in your second house if you're an Aquarius, Aquarius rising. And so second house is money. It's our earned income. It's our values. What do folks need to know if they're an
Yeah, this could
Aquarius,
be a
Aquarius
time to
rising?
conserve with your finances, build your savings, do less spending on frivolous things, or like maybe you want to start your own business. So you're saving your money so that you have like a rainy, a fund to help you through maybe some of the difficult times. You can also get clear with your values is another thing with this. Yeah.
And it's a really good time to work on your budget. Even though eighth house is a lot to say about budget, the second house, if you don't like where you are financially, look over your money, make an appointment with a financial advisor, really start taking responsibility, and you could find yourself getting on top of your money once and for all. Yes, stay off Amazon, Jack Deb, and look at the card I pulled, the Page of Pentacles.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm about ready to drop off this seat. So Page of Pentacles is a new financial beginning. And that's it. It's never too late to start fresh. And by the way, when we talk starting fresh, for some folks, it might mean going bankrupt too. And I know people don't like saying that B word, but for some folks, that is an option to wipe the slate clean. Don't feel ashamed if you need to do that. But whatever you do, whether you're doing that or debt repayment plan or starting a new job, a new side hustle, or just managing your money better, this is a time for a new financial beginning. The seeds you plant are going to be amazing. Aquarius, come on now. You can start. It doesn't matter where you are right now. And if you are worried about your financial future, there's help that you can get to.
Could this be a better match? Strength. Be strategic about how you're using your resources is the message of this. Yeah. Of this card. Be strong enough, Jack Deb, to stay off of Amazon because it will be in your best interest.
Yeah. And Real Sisters says, it's resonating. Real Sisters Aquarius, it says, my goals this year are working on debt and defining my values in love. That is, you're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing then. Boom. All right, last but not least, Pisces, and Saturn's going to be in your sign, Pisces, and that means it's in the first house, which is all about the self. So what do Pisces need to know about Saturn?
Saturn in the first house is a time where you may step back and get very introspective and get clear on who you are, your identity, your vitality. Now, it can be a time when you're experiencing tiredness or a health issue. So it's a time to take extra care of the physical body. The first house, the ascendant, has to do with like your physical body. So yeah, any issues, go straight to the doctor. Be okay with taking time to yourself. And yeah, you're getting clear on who you really are. Mm-hmm.
You're starting a whole new period. And I pulled 2 cards for Pisces. And I the Knight of Wands and the Three of Wands. And that means that over the next 3 years, and look at that, there's a 3, right? You are going far. You're going in new directions you've never gone before. You are exploring the perimeters of your soul. You're exploring who you are in the world and who you want to be in the world. So this could be a time where you're defining yourself, your place in the world, and expanding your world in exciting new ways. The Pisces, I don't know. I'm looking at this and it's like, wow, don't be afraid of Saturn being in your sign, because it looks like it is giving you the opportunity to become the bigger, better version of yourself. And your life is going to be an adventure for the next 3 years. So definitely make sure you go out and do the things you've always wanted to do, Pisces. Don't let anything hold you back.
I pulled preserving time. So yeah, this to me is like you're looking back and getting clear on your identity and who you really are. Like it's your brand is first house. So what do you want people to remember about you? This also has a legacy feeling to me as well. Yeah. So getting clear on these kinds of things. Yeah.
How do you want to be seen in the world, Pisces? What's your legacy? I love that you said that. Oh my God, Pisces, build it. Build it. It is your time to shine and build. Oh my God, Celeste, you are so amazing. You always have so much wisdom to share. This has been a lot of fun. I hope folks who tuned in have learned something about Saturn and Pisces and how to work with it. So if people want to work with you, where can they find you? Where can they follow you? What do they need to know
Yes.
about you, Celeste, and that book you're going
So
to write? But I'm going to hold you to it.
astrologybyceleste.com is my website, and that's where you book readings if you'd like to come for a natal chart reading. I do a lot on Instagram, so you can follow me here. You can push the little carrot and follow me. I have the Celestial Insights podcast where you can listen to it anywhere, where I talk about navigating the week with a theme as well as words of the day and key transits to look out for. I teach monthly new moons setting intentions workshops, so you can come to those. And I'm having 3 free webinars coming up. So, because I'm getting ready to teach my Moon Mastery signature course, which is all about the moon. So check out the link in my bio and you can sign up for the free webinars if you'd like. And some people will get a free chart reading from me there. I'm going to talk about the moon and all things about the moon with those webinars. Yeah.
Well, Celeste, I mean, it is
We
always
do.
a delight. We got to do this more often.
And I have started something called the Cosmic Connection, and I want you to be my guest on that. We'll talk about that offline when it works for you. I'm going to pick your brain about everything. What you do.
I am all about that. Yes, totally. Anytime. I am down for doing anything that you are up to. So definitely let me know. Any excuse to hang out with you, Celeste, and learn from you. Again, I just really appreciate you making time and sharing your wisdom with my audience. I know we all love you so much. And now, y'all, you're hearing this here. My new mission in life is making Celeste get that book done.
Just remember, I have 3 years.
3 years, and I'm going to be watching you. All right, everybody. Celeste, thank you again. And everybody have an amazing night and happy Saturn and Pisces in just 2 weeks. It's going to be here. So we're ready.
Bye, Theresa.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you so much. Love you and love your audience.
Love you too. Bye-bye.